Hello everyone, this is the thejonnymar, and happy Halloween! So for my latest Halloween special, I decided, along with some help from my patrons and a poll, to play another game in the Splatterhouse series. So I previously played Splatterhouse, the arcade game, as well as the TurboGrafx 16 version of the original game, and now I will be playing Splatterhouse Wanpaku Graffiti, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And this is an interesting game. It's a bit of a guide-in. It's a kind of spin-off of the series that in some ways is considered a little bit of a prequel to the games, but is really not. It is a chibi version that is essentially just a side-scrolling platform game with jumping and then slashing with your axe. If you happen to find one, you can also shoot with a shotgun. And so you're going to see some very interesting NES-style characters in this particular game. So we'll be getting right into the game here. You can use passwords in order to continue to progress through each of the different stages, being a console version of a game. And then this is the Namco Museum version, I believe, or Archives, whatever it's called. I've lost track of all the different Namco collections that there are out there. And this is actually, I believe, one of the first times this game has been released in the United States or North America outside of Japan. And so I actually have a reproduction card of this that I got back before they released this particular version of the game that included an English translation. And I never played it, but I knew I would someday play this game, and so I did want to have a version of it. So I got that reproduction cart, and now it's useless because I have this version of the game I can play instead. So here we have Rick as the character. That is the main character, of course, and then his girlfriend Jennifer is stolen by the Pumpkin King. This will be your grave. Well, of course it will. We're in a graveyard. So we're not going to play too much of this game in this particular episode. We're just going to celebrate Halloween by showing off the first stage, which actually includes a couple of different areas and a couple of different mini-bosses and bosses. So this game, again, is pretty straightforward, and it does like to riff on or spoof a lot of the classic horror games, and actually a lot of the horror movies of the 80s and 90s and 70s. Well, I guess not the 90s, because I think this was actually made in the 80s, so that would be quite a foresight on their part to be able to riff things in the 90s. But I believe it's in the 80s and 70s. So we have some zombies, we have some crosses here coming after us. These things are really annoying if you're not careful. As I mentioned, I hadn't played the game very much before this particular playthrough. I have watched some speedruns of this game, as well as a playthrough of this game by a few different people. And so I have a general sense of what to do. But again, this is the first time I'm actually going to be playing this game all the way through, other than playing this first level just to get a general sense of the controls. So we have the first sort of homage here. And we have a Michael Jackson Thriller homage. Now we can't actually do anything yet. We have to wait for him to do his little gesticulations and dancing. And then once he gets through a little bit of his dance, he will start throwing stuff at us, and then we'll have to start killing zombies. So similar to Thriller, but of course legally distinct, so that they don't have to worry about copyright issues. And again, in Japan, a lot of the times they really don't even care about copyright issues. As you could sort of see with the original Splatterhouse, they had the mask on Rick look very much like Jason Voorhees' mask from Friday the 13th, which again is just a hockey mask. But then they changed that in the US version, at least on the TurboGrafx, to a purple or a red mask. And then they changed the mask in subsequent games in the series to look less like a hockey mask and more like a bone mask. But there we go. Just kill a few of the zombies. You don't even have to kill them. You can just jump over them, actually. They'll go off the screen. It's essentially a timed event. And that is the first mini-boss of the game. And being a NES platformer, of course, health upgrades are candy and hamburgers. So we're going to head into the house here. It is not the mansion, I do not believe, from the first game, although I mentioned that this is seen in some ways as being a little bit of a prequel depending on how you finish the game. There are a few alternate paths you can take in this game, and if you get a couple of checkpoints then you are able to get a secret sort of ending, which leads into some of the events of the Splatterhouse original game, the arcade game. So here we have the second mini-boss. As you should sort of get a sense by watching this, a lot of the stages have all of these different mini-bosses that you have to take on. This one is a little bit of a poltergeist type enemy, attacking us with books. Fortunately, we do have a hamburger over here to restore our health. So we just have to destroy these books. They can be pretty annoying to kill, and I think it is based on maybe time or just the number of books that you destroy. You might have noticed that counter up in the upper left corner above our health. And essentially, as you kill enemies, that counts up, and once it hits whatever the total is, you get a extension to your life bar. But here, of course, we have an allusion to the Exorcist. And this is actually the first boss of the first stage. So no more mini-bosses. Pretty easy pattern. Just kind of go back and forth, slash the head. In the speedrun, they actually just catch it over in the corner and smack it over and over again to kill it pretty fast. I'm not good at that, so I just like to stick these chairs in this pattern and then just hit the head as it comes over close to me. Now they will follow you, so if you change up your momentum here, they will start to get weird patterns and start following you around the room. So I will try to show that off too, just to show you that they're not stuck like this, making this a super easy battle. But if you go back, for example, against the far walls, they will start bouncing back towards you and off the screen and so on and so forth. So not too bad for this first stage. And that is it for this first stage and first episode. As always, viewers, thank you for watching and the continued support, and I'll see you all in the next episode as we continue with this great game. Try not to be garbage of cesspool, and have a happy Halloween. So long! Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please press like and leave a comment below. Please also subscribe to my channel and press the notification bell. See you next time!